If you're watching this, you probably have a list of things you need to study, but zero motivation to do it. The deadlines are creeping up, the work keeps piling up, but somehow, scrolling on your phone or watching another episode of your favorite show seems way more appealing. You know you should start, but you just can't. And I've been there too. That's why in this video, I'm going to be sharing 7 evidence-based tips to help you get your motivation back, because it can actually be a lot easier than you think. Let's get right into it. The first step is to reconnect with your purpose. When we're unmotivated, it's often not laziness, but rather a disconnection from our purpose. So I'd suggest that you take some time to step back and reflect. Why do I want to study? Short term, maybe it's to avoid the stress of cramming or for the satisfaction of ticking tasks off your to-do list. Long term, maybe it's the thought of stepping into your dream job, getting an ideal grade on an exam, or graduating with your dream degree. When you're in need of a motivation boost, write down both these short-term and long-term goals on a piece of paper and stick them above your desk. And remember to be as specific as you can. Seeing your goals clearly written in front of you every time you sit down to study helps you reconnect with your purpose and builds a sense of intrinsic motivation, which research has linked to improved academic performance and mental well-being. My second tip is to check your basic needs. Before you even think about opening your laptop or opening your textbook, check in with how you're feeling. Are you well hydrated? Have you eaten recently? And do you feel well connected and supported by your loved ones? Maslow's hierarchy of needs reminds us that motivation to achieve our goals is difficult when we're neglecting essentials like food, water, sleep, and social connection. Once these foundational needs are met, we're more capable of focusing and feeling motivated. So drink some water, grab a healthy snack, and make sure that you're getting enough sleep. If you know that you're sleep deprived, you're honestly better off getting a full 8 hours of sleep and waking up fresh the next morning to study productively. Studies actually show that adequate sleep improves memory consolidation, learning, and attention. So yes, sleep is a part of the study process too. My third tip is to reset your environment, because sometimes it's not an issue with your motivation, but rather with your surroundings, because a cluttered space can really drain your energy. So try tidying up your desk, lighting a candle, or even changing your study space to somewhere outside or a cafe or a library. Just make sure that you won't be distracted by what's going on around you. Studying in a new location can actually produce a sense of novelty, which can help you recall your information better and boost your motivation levels. It's worth giving a try. Next, if you find that studying alone leads to procrastination, don't do it alone and try reaching out to someone. You could try studying with a friend, a sibling, or even playing a study with me video on YouTube to keep you accountable. This is a method called body doubling, and when we're in proximity with someone that is also doing a similar task to us, we're much more likely to stay on track and we're much less likely to pick up our phones. Sometimes my brother and I will just study in the same room together at home. Even though we're doing completely different tasks, I find that the time goes so much faster and I'm much more motivated because I feel like that other person in the room is holding me accountable. And I definitely suggest that you try this if you find it hard to retain that motivation. My next tip is to use the 5-minute rule. When you're really struggling to get started with your studying, tell yourself that you'll just study for 5 minutes. That's it. Set that timer and get started. Often, the hardest part of studying is beginning to study, but once we get into that study flow in our first 5 minutes, our brain kicks into gear and we want to keep going. This overcomes the hurdle of thinking that you have to study for hours and just helps you get right into the task, beating that procrastination. My next tip is to pay attention to when you feel most alert, energized, and focused throughout the day and plan your study tasks around this. For example, I find that I feel most motivated and energized in the early mornings. Therefore, I schedule most of my study during this time. I'll tackle practice papers, hard problem-solving questions, and tasks that I don't want to do in the mornings because I know that I have more mental energy to tackle these tasks. In the evenings, I find that I'm a lot more tired, so I'll save lower energy tasks such as writing notes or reviewing lectures for this time. If I were to do my hardest tasks of the day when I had the least mental energy, I would have zero motivation to do it because I'd be so tired from the day that I had. This whole process ties into our circadian rhythm, which is our natural sleep and wake cycle, and this is different for every person, which explains why some people are more energized in the mornings versus the night times. I'd recommend that you start a journal of how you're feeling throughout the hours in the day, and then you can schedule your study time according to this. If you find that you focus better at night, you could schedule your hardest tasks for later in the day. But if you're like me and you focus better in the morning, I'd recommend that you schedule your hardest tasks for the morning if that works for you. This whole process will help you work smarter and not harder, as the time that you spend studying will be much more effective, therefore boosting your motivation to keep going. My last piece of advice is to embody your future self. Whenever your motivation is low, try asking yourself, what would the version of me who has already achieved my goals be doing in my current situation? Visualize the version of you who is calm, accomplished, and proud. Maybe you've achieved a major academic milestone, you've graduated from your degree, or landed your dream job. How would that version of you study? How would they manage their time? How would they approach productive tasks? Now think like them, be them, and act like them. Psychology shows that when we adopt a future identity, it's easier for us to take aligned actions with that version of ourselves. The more we act in line with the disciplined student identity, the easier the study habits become, because we're not just doing the tasks, but we're rather being the person that completes these tasks. This can even link back to the short and long-term goals that we talked about before. Take a look at your long-term goals and envision yourself as that person who has already achieved those goals. How would they approach their studying? To summarize, we all experience times when our motivation is low, but you can create momentum with small and meaningful actions. Please remember to be kind to yourself, and that even the most successful people have time off as well, and you deserve that too in times of high stress. But whenever it's time to get back into it, I hope that this video was able to provide you with some practical help and encouragement. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this one, as I take you along on my study journey throughout university. Please feel free to let me know if you have any other questions, video ideas, or suggestions, and I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.